Hi guys, we're going to be going over lesson 18, which is writing and evaluating expressions, addition and subtraction. I'm going to go over the introduction. I'm going to go through some, and then I'm going to let you guys work by yourselves to finish it. And then on the second video, we will be going over it. So remember, this is the time after the introduction to just try your best. If you do not get it, don't ask questions. Just wait, try your best, and then wait for the second video, and then correct your answers if you don't have it right. All right, so let's look at the opening exercise. It says, how can we show a number increased by 2? Okay, well, it doesn't tell us what the number is, so we're going to use a variable. So you could use any variable. I'm going to use A. So go ahead and write this down. So we have A. So it's a number increased by 2. And remember our graphic organizer. We went through addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponents where we wrote down words that meant the same. So increased by, if you remember, means to add. So we need a number, and it doesn't tell us a number, so we use the variable A, increased by 2. So A plus 2. Or you could say 2 plus A, because remember when you're adding like this, the order does not matter, because that would end up being the same thing. So let's say that A was 4, for instance, and we put 4 here. It'd be 4 plus 2 or 2 plus 4. Both of them would equal 6. So remember the order here doesn't matter. So you can put A plus 2 or 2 plus A. All right, so look underneath it. It says, can you prove this using a model? And remember we did models before I left with using variables. So if I did A plus 2, here would be A. So this would represent A. And I would add in, actually I should have done that where 2 looks like 2 boxes. All right, hang on one second. All right, so it'd be A and then 2, make 2 a little bigger. So that's A plus 2. And if I want to do 2 plus A, I just flip it around. Here we have 2, and then here's A. And there's 2 plus A. So go ahead and write this down. I'll give you a second, leave it up there. Make sure you have your model and that you could show the number A plus 2 and 2 plus A at the beginning for the opening exercise. And then we'll go over example or the exercise. And we'll start on exercise 1. All right. Let's go ahead. Hang on one second. Okay, so look at example 1. It says the importance of being specific in naming variables. Okay, so in the exercises, we're going to learn to be specific on naming what that variable is. It says when naming variables and expression, it's important to be very clear about what they represent. The unit of measure must be included in something is measured. So look at exercises 1 and 2. We're going to start with 1, and I'm going to show you what that means. Okay, so first it says the variable. It gives us the 3 boxes. And I'm going to put a V right here. That means variable. ID for incomplete description, because I'm not going to rattle that out. And then complete description with units. So this is where we'll give them the units, what they represent. Whether that means like meters, centimeters, inches, gallons, seconds, years. You'll see all that as we go. So let's look at the first one. It says Joshua's speed, and that's J. So the variable for that is J. And then this one says let J represent Joshua's speed. Okay, so if we think about speed, think of a unit of measure that we could use. All right, miles could be one, but also think of the unit of measure meters. So I'm going to say over here, let J represent where it says the complete description with units. Now we're going to add the units in there. So let J represent Joshua's speed to meters per second. And that's how we're letting the variable J represent our unit, and it's meters and then per second. All right, I'm gonna do one more, and before I let for this one to go over. All right, the next one says Rufus's height, and it's R that represents his height. All right, then it says let R represent Rufus's height. Okay, when we're talking about height, you could use centimeters. I wouldn't use feet because, I mean, if you used feet and you were 5'3", you would have to use inches as well. So when you use something that we do not have to use, that the variable could only represent one unit, so I would say centimeters. All right, that's the best way to represent the height. So now we're going to say let R represent Rufus's height in centimeters. I mean, you could have done inches, but then you'd have like a decimal. Usually it's easier to do centimeters to get more spot on to where you're not going over, and you could use that in only centimeters and not like the feet where it's going to be 5 feet 3 inches or something like that. So our variable only represents one unit, and that's centimeters here. So his height is in centimeters. All right, if you look at the next one, it says milk sold M. Then it says let M represent the amount of milk sold. So think about milk. How do you buy the milk? Think about that. When you go with your mother's or fathers or guardians, go and buys milk from the store, it's usually in gallons. Sometimes I get half a gallon, but it's still gallons that we measure it by. So for that one, I want you to represent the amount of milk sold in gallons. If you want to go ahead and write that down, gallons, so you'll know. All right. Then we'll look at the second one. It says Colleen's time in the 40-meter meter hurdle, which is C. It says let C represent Colleen's time. So if we're talking about her time in a 40-meter hurdle, we need to do more. We don't need to go to minutes. We don't need to go to hours. So what's the next thing that could represent time? I would use seconds. All right. So use seconds for that one. That will be our unit. For the fourth one is seconds. All right, and then the last one is talking about age. If it's talking about age, use years. That's going to be the best one. Let it represent his age. Okay, years. Unless you were talking, I mean, if you want to do months, great, have at it. But if they're, I mean, let's say 80 years old, or the person's 80 years old, using months would be a little difficult. So I would use years for that one. All right, flip over the page. It's the same thing. You're going to, if you look at the top example, it says Carolyn's CD, and it says K. It says let K represent Carolyn's CDs. And then it says, well, actually, yeah, this is let K, and then on the complete description with units says let K represent the number of CDs Carolyn has. So right there, our unit measure is the number. Numbers are units. So how many CDs do you have? That's our unit, our description with units. It's a number. All right, look at the next one. It says Joshua's merit badges, which is J. And it says let J represent Joshua's merit badges. And so for that, I would use the number again, the number of merit badges he has earned when you're doing the complete description with units. So how much he has earned in total. All right, then the third one we have Rufus again. So it's talking about Rufus's trading cards. R, again, let R represent Rufus's trading cards. And for the complete description with units, let R represent the number of trading cards in his collection. So all these are dealing with the amount or number. All right, the last one is milk money, which is M. It says let M represent the amount of milk money. Then it says for the complete description, you would need to let M represent the amount of milk money that is collected in dollars. So now we're talking about dollars because it wants to know the amount of milk money. Money is our keyword there. So our unit should be dollars, our amount in dollars. All right, look at example 2. It says writing and evaluating addition and subtraction expressions. So it says read each story problem, identify the unknown quantity, and write the addition or subtraction expression that is described. Finally, evaluate your expression using the information given in column 4. Okay, so look at the first example. That gives you 2 examples actually. The first one says Greg has 2 more dollars than his brother Jeff. Write an expression for the amount of money Greg has. It says let J represent Jeff's money in dollars. So if you look at the expression, since it says that he has 2 more dollars and J is Jeff's money, so we're wanting to know Greg's money, it says J plus 2 in the expressions. All right, so this is how much Greg has. It's Jeff's money plus $2 because it says Greg has 2 more dollars. So then when it says evaluate the expression, if Jeff has $12, that means J would represent 12. So 12 plus 2, and that equals 14. And you can see where it says show your work and evaluate. You must say, okay, first our expression was J plus 2. All right, then we found out that his was 12, and then became 12 plus 2. And would that equal 12 plus 2? That equaled 14. Well, I don't know why I have a 12 down here. Sorry, guys. So 12 plus 2 is 14. So then it says at the bottom, after you evaluate it, Greg has $14. All right, so look at example 2. It says Greg has 2 more dollars than his brother Jeff. Write an expression for the amount of money Jeff has. So now we just looked at how much money Greg has. So now we want to see how much Jeff has. All right, so it says let G represent the amount of money in dollars that Greg has. So the expression is his money minus 2. Since he has 2 more dollars than Jeff, if we want to know how much Jeff has, you subtract 2 from Greg's money. All right, and once again, we already found out Greg has $14, so it says evaluate the expression Greg has 14. So you'll write G minus 2. If you see where it says show your work and evaluate, it says G minus 2, and it said Greg had 14, so then it becomes 14 minus 2, which is 12. And it says Jeff has $12. And if you look up at the one above that, it said Jeff had $12. So we said we did that right. All right, so let's look at the third one real quick. They gave you 2, and I just want to make sure you guys understand this. So we're going to go over one more. It says Abby read 8 more books than Kristen in the first marking period. Write an expression for the number of books Abby read. So you should write let K represent the number of books Kristen read in the first marking period. So go ahead and make sure you write that in that box where it decides to describe with units. Okay. So the first two we were talking about dollars. Now we're talking about number of books in the first marking period. All right. So how many books is she reading in marking period, and first marking period, and number of books is how we're describing it. All right, because what it's asking for is an expression for the number of books Abby read when it says she read 8 more books than Kristen. Okay, so our expression for that one is she read 8 more books than Kristen. Kristen is represented with a K, so we're going to put K, and if it's more than more books, remember that's addition, and it's 8 more books, so we're adding 8 to it. So K plus 8 is the expression that should be used for that one. All right, then it says Kristen read 9 books in the first marking period. So now we have the number for the variable K. So now we'll have for the show your work and evaluate. Okay, we had K plus 8. All right, then it told us that K represented 9. So now it's 9 plus 8. 9 plus 8 is 17. So that means that Abby read 17 books in the first marking. All right, make sure you fill that out. I'm going to give y'all a second to fill that one in. Quickly, though. All right, I'm about to erase it. All right, so flip the page, or turn the page, and you'll see more just like this. I think the problem set is like it too. So we had the problem set and 5 more on the next page, plus the problem set has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 10, or y'all will be able to do 10 of these. I already gave you 2 examples. I gave you another example. You just have to read the first column, and then the second column you would describe, do a description with units, and then in the third problem you write your expression. All right, they already give you the 4th column where you evaluate the expression, because it gives you the number that for the variable that you come up with, and then you just evaluate that expression plugging in the number they give you for the variable. So go ahead and do all of those. Do the problem set and finish the ones on the next page. Go back to your resources and use the examples that was given. All right, and then if you look at the problem set, it gives you another example at the top. So actually you only had to fill in 4 for that. And then at the bottom it tells you number 2 goes with the last one on the problem set, because it talks about George has gone camping 3 times fewer than Dave. So number 2 says, if George went camping 15 times, how could you figure out how many times Dave went camping? Use that information in your last column of the problem set number 1 to be able to figure out the answer for number 2. So now you're going to be working quietly. I shouldn't see anyone done really fast. This is a lot of work. I've been seeing a lot of people trying to finish and just sitting there. I don't want to see anyone sitting there. Go back and check your answers. I want to see them correct. Mr. Holcroft will be walking around to make sure that you have them completed, because in the description with units you should have a description written for each one. So that's going to take a little time. So do your best. Try your best. You have examples to go to. I've given you examples, so I should not see anyone raising their hands. I will be going over this. Try your best. All right, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.